And ladies and gentlemen, I will serve as your MC for this conference, and we're going to move directly into our opening, which is not on your agenda, but we have the privilege and honor of having, we hope, on our screens, joining us from Kyiv, the Minister of Infrastructure, Oleksandr Kubrakov, and to moderate that conversation, we have Ambassador John Herbst, former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine and Uzbekistan, and currently Senior Director of the Eurasia Center at the Atlantic Council in Washington. John, over to you.
David, thank you. And I apologize to the audience in advance. I'll be asking some questions to Minister Kubrakov, and I'll be looking at him on the screen, so I may have at least partly my back to you. No insult intended. Okay, Mr. Minister, welcome to our conference. We are delighted to have you here. And Oleksandr Kubrakov is the Minister of Infrastructure in Ukraine. Briefly a member of the Rada, he was on the list of the Servant of the People until he left the Rada to become the head of the State Agency for Automobiles. And where he did so well there, he became then the Minister of Infrastructure. So, Mr. Minister, we will talk about some things which go beyond your current responsibility because, of course, everyone's very much interested in the progress of the war. So if you can start by giving us an update on the military side, both in the east and in the south, please.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome all participants. Again, to say thank you for all Georgians, people from Georgia who supports us during this war. We appreciate this, we feel this, and all those rallies supporting Ukraine, especially at the beginning of the war, we appreciate. Regarding the progress, I wouldn't just comment some, I would rely only on official sources. So, I mean, there are some progress in eastern part of Ukraine, some small towns and villages were deoccupied yesterday in eastern part in one of the direction. Also, as you see, during the last week in southern part of Ukraine in direction to Kherson, our operation has started, and some small also villages, towns also deoccupied, and yesterday in some media even appeared this information, but we are trying not to comment this information because it's military people in charge of this, and they comment what they want to comment because operation is continuing. So let's see. But as I understand everything according to the schedule, and we see that some first results appeared even in official media.
Okay, thank you. Turning to something where you have directly been involved, which is the shipping of Ukrainian grain from Odessa out to consumers everywhere. What is the status of grain shipments right now?
Yeah, it's important to emphasize that before the Black Sea Grain Initiative started from the 1st of August, we also started exporting our grain through our ports on Danube River, our 3 ports. And in addition to this, I mean, if we're talking about Black Sea Grain Initiative, it's already from 3 ports of large Odessa. We already exported about 2.2 million tons of agricultural products. But in total, if we added Danube ports, railway, and trucks, almost 5 million tons we exported in August to our key markets. So it's working, it's growing. We see that there is a progress. But again, I'd like to emphasize that this initiative also, like there is the room for this compromise appeared only after Snake Island was released by our military people, by our Navy, by our Army.
You said 5 million tons of grain were shipped in August. In a normal August, what would that number be?
It could be. It was slightly high. It was up to 7.
So are you confident that you'll be able to export grain on somewhat like the normal in a normal amount, or do you think the grain shipments will be a certain percentage, 50%, 70% of what they normally are?
I think in September we can reach normal level in case if everything work properly. But again, it's the key question is safety question. I mean, the risk of safety in case if three ports in large Odessa will work, and in case if everything on Danube River railway connection, trucks on the border. So I mean, I'm sure that we can reach the level which we had before the war.
We have seen Russian missile strikes near Odessa and your port facilities. How damaging is this to your efforts to export the grain?
You know that last attack of rocket strike to Odessa seaports was right after the signing of the Black Sea Grain Initiative. I mean, it was important just for Russians to show that they can do this anytime, any day, and they can stop initiative. So at the moment, I mean, I think all key terminals in Pivdenny, Chernomorsk, and Odessa seaport in normal conditions. But unfortunately, our seaport in Mykolaiv, which is also important, about 40% of our export of agricultural products before the war was through Mykolaiv seaport. Unfortunately, this seaport was attacked many times, I think more than 10 times, and the grain terminals, some of them totally destroyed.
Okay, thank you. I've seen various estimates about the extent of the damage that the Kremlin war has inflicted on Ukraine. Can you give us an estimate of the damage and devastation across the country from this invasion?
Yeah, there are some calculations, but we rely on just Kyiv School of Economy. They are working on estimation of the damages, and they're working in cooperation with different NGOs, with World Bank, also with some companies. So they estimate about on the level of 105 billion US dollars. It's direct damages of infrastructure. Almost half of this, it's like housing, it's residential buildings, it's like municipal infrastructure, and then second position, it's transport infrastructure, it's bridges, railway, roads, ports, airports, and the rest. So, I mean, it's for the moment, direct losses are estimated on this level, but just to make it clear, that so we are not, we don't understand what is going on temporary occupied territories, for example, Mariupol and some other cities. So for us, now we cannot even imagine.
So to repeat, in the area currently under the control of the government in Kyiv, the estimate is about $105 billion of damage.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. This is not necessarily for you to answer, but some of us believe strongly that the $284 billion of Russian reserves that are currently frozen should be released precisely to help you cover those damages. Okay. Another question. You are responsible as well for infrastructure relating to nuclear energy. We've seen the Russian seizure of the nuclear plant near Zaporizhzhia. We've seen the arrival of inspectors, international inspectors. Your sense of the situation there, the damage done by the Russian occupation of the site, and what comes next?
I think we are. I mean, we are. What we are trying, just when we had a meeting with representatives of United Nations, we have only one request: just to demilitarize this area and allow our specialists to enter to the station and just to support to maintain working of the station in a stable mood. This is like our initial aim, our initial request to United Nations. So let's see what will happen, whether it will be successful or not. Let's see. This is the only one, our demand to United Nations team.
All right, I'm going to make a comment here and then ask you for your reaction. Two issues we've just discussed are in your area of responsibility. One, the grain shipments, the other, the power plant, the nuclear plant in Zaporizhia. In both cases, we saw aggressive Kremlin activity, which could have created both a famine in the global south and a nuclear catastrophe, not just in Ukraine, but in all of Europe, including in Russia. In both cases, the Kremlin essentially backed down after international pressure was placed. A positive sign for those of us who want to see a successful end to this war. Any thoughts on your part regarding this?
I agree with you, but just again, if you discuss a grain initiative, the basis for this like compromise, which was just moderated by United Nations, I mean, was success of our military people. Just to remind you, in April, our people in Odessa, from the balcony, they saw Russian ships, Russian military ships. So then one ship was destroyed, then second, third, then Snake Island was released, and only after that, I mean, again, I agree with you, there was pressure from all sides on Russian Federation regarding opening of seaports, renewing of export, because the situation, I mean, with global food security became more and more complicated on all continents. Inflation rates were increased. So I mean, it's like it's not only one condition. I mean, putting pressure, it's important, but again, only with incorporation, only with success on battlefield. I mean, this could work.
You're absolutely right, and you might say that the growing support for Ukraine, the tangible support for Ukraine, is partly a result of the success you've had since the first day of this invasion. So the success, the bravery and the success of the Ukrainian military has been absolutely key, the key element for all positive developments since February 24. All right, let's talk a little bit about your efforts to ensure Ukrainian exports also by rail and by road. You have the problem of the different train gauges between Ukraine and Eastern and rest of Eastern and Central Europe. How do you fix that, or how have you dealt with that?
For the moment, we are focusing on rebuilding of existing lines. For example, we had several lines with European standard which enter into territory of Ukraine, but they were not used for many years. And we focused on renewing of these lines. Some of them already opened, and some of them rebuilt. Similar, we have our lines with our standards, which enter into territory of Poland, for example, and Slovak Republic. We also focusing on just rebuilding or renewing of these lines. And we have started several new projects, but we are focusing only on regions which are bordering with EU, because from our territory we can deliver anything by existing lines, but in order to speed up export, we are constructing several terminals. Also, private sector participate in all these projects and initiatives, and we see first results. I mean, the volumes of export is growing. And the same with trucks, for example, with our neighbors, with Romania, we will open in less than 1 month 2 additional border cross checkpoints on Romania border. And with colleagues from Poland, we already increase capacity of 2 also border cross checkpoints. I hope that it also will help us.
It's well understood by people who study war that logistics are a very essential part of the military effort. Folks like me who were watching the war at the beginning were concerned that given the Russian superiority in the air, which turned out to be not so superior, getting supplies to the front would be a difficult problem. Your oversight of railroads has been an important part of Ukraine's success on the battlefield. Without revealing any secrets, can you share with us how you've managed this?
I can say that our brave people, they are like working each day. We are losing almost each day our people from our Ukrainian railways, and they're real heroes, and they're doing their job in like the most complicated regions, in the most complicated part of the country, the most dangerous situation. So they're like staying behind and staying not even behind, staying with our military people in one line and doing their job.
Someday, after this war is done and you have full control of your country, there'll be a movie about those heroic rail workers. I think we have taken up a good deal of your time. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Minister, and very good luck in your endeavors. David,
Thank you so much. Have a good conference.